Four best friends, using all of their holiday magic, will tell us if this movie is actually Christmas. Or maybe it's not.
Hi,
Hi,
best friends!
I did it this time.
Cheyenne participated.
It was hard.
Thank
So
you.
proud of you.
We, as your best friends, really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So, welcome back to Is It Christmas with the Best Friends Club. Let's start with our friendship catch up, which is the real reason why we do this podcast.
Yes.
We don't care about any of you.
The movies
For each
don't
other.
matter. You guys watching this, we're happy you're doing it, but this isn't for you. This is just to give us time to talk to each other once a week. And it's great. So Christmas catch up. Cheyenne, have you done anything Christmas this week?
Yes. Travis and I had a work event in Tampa. We just got back last night. I also had to make a cheesecake for Thanksgiving last night, which that cheesecake recipe we do is like, I got home at like 9 p.m. and started it. I have a huge crack in it. So, I mean, all of that is not Christmas. But we went to like this winter village thing and we did like a boat ride to look at the lights. It was, very underwhelming. And there were creepy people there.
Was there an elf? Was there an elf?
There
by
was
chance?
an elf. And they were like, oh, I think I maybe texted this, but for those that, aren't best friends, they were like, "You've heard of Elf on a Shelf? Well, here we have Elf on a Barge." I was like,
We didn't even try to make it rhyme.
"You've got to make it rhyme. You got to something." Like, it
They
was
said
very
we don't care about
strange.
being clever. We just
And then
needed
it
an elf.
was, it was meant for children, but for some reason, the ride we were on, there were only 2 children. So the elf was like, "Hi." And she was like really looking at me because Travis and I, of course, were the only people dressed Christmas. And
Yeah.
she was just like, "You look beautiful."
And I imagine Travis stepped in and said, "Thank you."
Yeah. Well, Travis was randomly, we didn't know we were going to do this thing that had the elf, but he was randomly wearing like an elf union shirt that was like, for a labor union. So he was like trying to make conversation about like the rights of the elves, but it was too awkward. We were just passing on a barge. So next time he'll do some organizing.
2 Christmases in the night, just passing.
Yeah.
Lauren, tell us about what Christmas you've done this week or have coming up. I bet you've got some Christmas in you.
Well, I have a random thing I did that Cheyenne said I should talk about.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Eric and I were decorating our tree, and like our main tree has True Tones on it. So
Yep.
it's like LED to look incandescent, but like there were just all these dark spots like kind of in the inside. And so we got these mini lights that were supposed to look incandescent as well. Yeah,
vintage glow
just from
or whatever.
like the store, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course they were like not warm enough. They looked crazy, and I'm like, this is gonna ruin like the tree. So I was like, can you get me a Sharpie? Like, do we have an orange Sharpie? And I like colored over one of like the lights, and I'm like, yeah, that's so much better. So I colored over like 3 strands of lights.
So many lights.
So I don't even know, 300 lights or whatever. Each individual one with a Sharpie all the way around, just to like get that like warm glow look.
It looked
and it
so
looks
good.
Yeah, it really made a difference, but it was insane.
Do you put orange over all of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good to know, because I now want to try that, but I feel like I will copy your process, but use like alcohol ink and just dip them instead.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was wishing I had the whole time. Or even like a Q-tip with like alcohol ink and like get it all around, just because it would have been faster. But
Makeup
I
sponge.
did it. Yeah, I ended up doing it before I unbundled them. So like kind of like holding it all together, and that helped a lot too. But then Eric has like this Krampus tree. It's black and it's pre-lit, and it has just like white LEDs, and they're kind of like too bright too. And he's like, I want to make them red. And so he went and got a red Sharpie and then fully did his Krampus tree while it was like fully decorated, pre-lit, like get every single light bulb all around too. But it made such a big difference.
was like, what
That's a
TikTok?
win.
I was like, what TikTok did you see this on? Like, where'd you come up with this idea? And she was like, just my brain.
Yeah.
That's Lauren.
So
Lauren
smart.
if anybody watching the podcast has seen photos of Lauren's house, you understand that is just how her brain works. Like making things like so stunning and beautiful in every nook and cranny of the home is exactly what Lauren does. So it makes
At like midnight. I'm like, I have to wake up for work tomorrow. What am I doing?
You're doing what's right for Christmas, you know? Well,
But
I love
hey,
that.
it's an
Adam
option.
said.
If you ever want to change the color of your lights, get some color
Yeah,
Sharpies.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like I
that's
should
so
do
smart.
it just on this one. Because look at, why does the Santa look like he has glowing
He's a demon?
eyes? But the Santa is actually incandescent. Like, this is what's going to set my house on fire. But I don't know. He looks creepy right now.
Yeah. Renee, hey, did you do anything Christmas this week or have any Christmas coming up? No. She's
He's
Renee, that's
working
fine.
so hard.
You can't win them. You can't win them all.
I did add, me and Cheyenne worked on my song for my drag number, and we did add some Nutcracker into it.
Okay, great.
Ooh, see? There you
Evolution. Did we talked about this in the last podcast, right? The removal of the Nutcracker? Or did we talk about it before we recorded?
I think we talked about it, but it might have gotten cut. It might have been left on the cutting room floor because even though it was 2.5 hours almost, I did cut like 45 minutes from it.
I was going to say, it was, over 3 hours of us talking. So
this one's going to be shorter, everyone. Stay with us.
They're going to get shorter and shorter every week.
Well, this week, I don't think we did much of anything Christmas oriented. It was pretty much, I was doing some decorating around the house, but that was it. There was nothing, I didn't buy anything new or exciting. We don't have any outside Christmas really, and it's driving me nuts. But I also don't know what to do outside because we've only got one outlet. And yeah, I have to get the garland. But I wanted to wait. It's like 55 degrees today, but then it jumps back down to cold. So I'm going to probably get the garland this week, the real fir garland, and do that on the porch. But yeah, like we only have one outlet. So like the light situation is tough. I think we do want those giant C9 blow mold decorations. One of our neighbors got one and it was like they had a red one on their porch and Keenan saw it and really liked it. And I was like, ooh. Keenan, can we buy those?
The ones from Five
No,
Below?
they're from Home Depot. They're like the huge ones.
Oh, I haven't seen those.
Oh, yeah, they're like 3 feet tall C9s. And
That's
then you
cute.
Yeah, so we're like, we can buy a red and a green and a white one and have those set up like on the porch, or I was thinking maybe in the windows on the second floor. But yeah, we haven't done much for Christmas this week, but I have a lot coming up because I have to get the house Christmas ready for Cheyenne and Travis coming next weekend, when we will have a lot of Christmas activities. And Cheyenne and I might film a special episode without Renee and Lauren because they are busy gals.
But
and
you'll
we'll be
also
together
be
in
in
person.
the same place.
We'll be in the same room. Maybe our husbands will make cameos for that one.
You should definitely do that.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun.
Seems real cute.
They can at least pop in, give their ratings.
Oh, yeah.
They can wear like
Keenan is
mass of us.
very opinionated when we're watching these.
Yes.
Because we watch the movies together just because it's fun to. And Keenan's very opinionated when we do it. So they have a lot to say.
St.
Which is
Travis
great.
had a lot.
Yeah. So, does anyone have anything for Christmas show and tell this week? I literally have only gone to the grocery store and nothing fun.
I have something. I was worried I wouldn't have anything because I didn't have a ton of time, but then this was on my desk and I was like, oh, I should show her. This is a beautiful girl.
Oh.
She's like, you spin her and she makes music and she's like vintage. She's being held up a little bit by a toothpick. Cindy, my stepmom gave this to me. I'll put in a picture.
Yeah, is will you put a video of her or something?
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
video
do
of her spinning with the music.
Oh, yeah, I'll do but she's very, I probably
And she's got orange hair like you?
She has orange hair. I think that's why she gave her to me. And I can't remember. I think her mom made her.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's very sweet. And now she's going to be making creepy music the rest of this podcast because I
love
accidentally turned it. So, but she's beautiful.
Yeah, that's
And
so beautiful.
haunted.
What a nice gift. I
I
love
know.
when people know to give you things because they look like you. Like
Yes.
my main doll that Lauren
Yeah.
hunted for years. But I love her, and I need to get a doll stand and a shelf made for her for this room.
She's very
Because
like What We Do in the Shadows. Like she's
Yes.
your
Your mini Nadia.
now that I don't have hair anymore, I need to make a wig of her hair.
mm-hmm.
Even though I do have, Cheyenne was debating on if I was considered a redhead still.
You're definitely
which-
still a redhead.
Which
I was not debating, but
She just said none of us have orange hair. And
yeah.
then you said you count as a natural redhead. Like we weren't debating your redheadedness.
Mm-hmm.
That
And
is-
even my hair is not that orange anymore, right?
I think all of us disagree. You have very orange hair.
Okay.
But
Just
it's a
combine
different
two.
formula that I was gonna say we all did the same orange dye for so long.
Mhm.
But I do love the new color. So
Me too. When I was
It's maybe
watching
what I
the
would shift to.
podcast back, I was like, oh, I really like this hair color.
It's real good with the Christmas stuff, too.
Thanks. Yeah, I really like it.
I did watch the podcast back, so that's a Christmas thing I did this week.
Oh, yeah.
I did
Oh.
fall asleep during
Mhm.
it, and then I just picked up where the next day where I left off. But I think we did a great job.
Yeah, I
I've been
think
playing
so.
it for Norman when we leave the house for him.
Aw.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, he'll watch the episodes while he's lounging in front of the
It's like
fireplace.
he can see me again.
He reacts to Cheyenne's voice over the phone every time.
Mm.
It's very crazy that there's distinct favoritism. He will not notice if I'm FaceTiming with Keenan, he won't be able to figure out where the voice is coming from. But with Cheyenne, for Cheyenne on FaceTime, he for some reason can. And I think it's sadly that he prefers Cheyenne to all of us, including me and Keenan.
No, I think it's because my voice is like meant for dogs.
Yeah,
it's like,
Daisy
hi.
loves
It's that
too.
tone.
I didn't realize it till I was doing this. Like, people always say my voice is crazy, and I do agree it's like kind of crazy. But until I was like mixing it alongside other people, I was like, oh, it is crazy. I sound crazy.
It's so funny because literally never have I never have thought about your voice. Only time it's ever come up is when other people comment on your voice.
Yes, people comment. Like, I'll just
but
say, oh,
I've never
hi, how
thought-
are you?
Yeah, that's how I think, too.
I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? And like a random person will be like, hi, how are you? Like, mock me back to me. And I'm just like, I was
Wow.
just literally saying it.
Well, I'm happy we've done some Christmas things and some more Christmas is coming. Keenan and I aren't doing the usual first Christmas that we like to try and do in the past, which is we would host Christmas movies and dessert after people's family Thanksgivings. But we don't really have anyone here to invite because our one close friend, Connor, is in Tennessee seeing his parents. So
Oh, sad.
we also liked to, on Thanksgiving, we always call it first Christmas, and we do the trial run of our Christmas dinner. So on Christmas, it's easier and doesn't get messed up. So I'm going to be making a beef Wellington for the first time tomorrow.
Ooh.
So fun.
So we are getting into Christmas heavily this week. It's really the start. The decorations have been going up and the movies have been playing and the music has been playing, but we're really going all in. But speaking of all in, I think it's time to go all in on Champagne Problems, the movie of the week for Is It Christmas with the Best Friends Club.
Let's go.
I'm
Let's
going to
do
give
it.
you the IMDb synopsis. Starring Minka Kelly, an executive travels to France to secure the acquisition of a renowned champagne brand before Christmas. But her plans are upended when she falls into a whirlwind romance with a charming Parisian, only to discover he's the founder's son. Without spoilers, what's everybody think of this movie? General thoughts, pros and cons. I'll start. Here's what I'm going to say. A movie set in Paris at Christmas is going to be Christmassy. It was snowy. Pros, there's a very cute dog. The dog captured my
Dog.
attention the entire
Mhm.
time, every time it's on screen.
Best character.
That dog is so cute. Best character in the movie, definitely.
We have some good characters. We have a few
Yeah.
good
Oh, the
characters.
character- that's the
Still
thing.
best.
Yeah.
I like the
Still
characters quite a bit, but also did not know the main girl is who Minka Kelly is because I've heard that name a bunch. But Keenan and I just keep being like, wow, she could have done great as a replacement Jennifer Garner when Jennifer Garner stopped acting because she has exactly the same voice.
Yeah.
And it was almost like Keenan and I were like, "Is she putting it on, or is this just how she actually?
How she
does she just sound
talks
exactly
always
like Jennifer
sounds
Garner?"
like that. Every time I see her in
never seen
anything,
her.
she sounds like she's like, it's like almost soap opera. Like, what is happening?
Like
Do you
forced.
actually talk like this? Nobody
Yeah.
talks like this. Yeah.
I will say I love the stereotypical gay character. I think he is literally the perfect character in this movie because
Mm-hmm.
everybody else is like, I don't dislike any of the actors in it. Keenan and I were laughing about there's like the German guy, and that guy only plays that same character in every movie.
Yes.
Like he's in the
Pitch
second
Perfect too.
Pitch Perfect, playing the same character. He's in something else Keenan and I have seen as the same character. It's just so funny that he has only cast the comic relief, very stoic German man. Yeah, pros, the casting was good. I generally like the story, and the dog is extremely cute. That's our consensus. We all
I
agree.
It was just so, I mean, overall, it's like, I just get so viscerally angry when, like, the clothes in a Christmas movie are so beige Christmas, and I feel like this movie was that.
They weren't
and
beige
so,
Christmas, they were just beige.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's so hard to overcome that. I do think, like, I wanted so badly to like it so that I don't sound like a just troll who hated both the last movie we did and this movie.
Diane hates Christmas. You heard it here first.
But I just, like, the clothes really were a downer. But there was a lot of things I liked, so we can talk about it.
Yeah. So usually even during like cheesy Christmas movies, like, because you know that's my favorite, and I'll end up like crying even when I'm like, this is bad. But I don't know, I didn't have emotional connection to these people, which I thought I would. That was kind of my con.
Yeah.
But it was, I think, like, some of it was cute. Like the dog was so cute.
I think this one runs into the same problem that we kind of had with last week's movie as well, where this one is another story that could have been any time of year.
Yes, 100%.
That's the only, because you know what, they're formulaic in, like, a lot of these Christmas movies are very formulaic, especially the Netflix ones with the night before Christmas, where the night comes from like time travels, or
Great
the Christmas
one.
Prince movie is like,
Great one.
those ones couldn't happen at a different timeline, really. Like, Christmas is so hinged into that. And I think Netflix this year is not producing ones that are so heavily, like, thought, like, it's not, like, woven into the DNA of the storyline that Christmas needs to be happening.
Yeah, there was not even, like, there wasn't, like, a Christmas deadline. There wasn't, you know? And yeah, these Netflix ones in the past years have been so good. So I think I also have higher expectations. Because even like, which was like a random like one-off, like obviously we know like Christmas Prince and stuff was huge. Like a one-off like the holiday calendar or what was it, like Love Hard, or like all of those have been so good and like
Christmas
that
at
and
the
fun.
Biltmore. That was another. Wait, but that was Hallmark.
That's Hallmark.
That was like I haven't seen that one. Oh no, wait,
that
I
one
did
was
see that
on
one.
Netflix,
That one,
I think.
that one was really good. That was a really good one.
And it was
But
very
yeah.
Christmas.
But most of these Netflix ones have been like super fun, and like I get really into them. And I don't know, these past two, that's again, I don't want it to seem like we are just gonna be cynical during all of these, but they haven't been as fun as in previous years so far. These ones coming out, maybe the December ones are where they're gonna.
That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping that like we're leading up to, because when you look at the lineup of them, they do look like they get progressively better. It's not a Netflix one, but like I'm banking all of my Christmas cards on Oh What Fun, because it's written and directed, I think, by Michael Showalter, who we love, and Michelle Pfeiffer is going to be in it, and a bunch of people. It's an Amazon Prime one. I think it comes out in like 1 or 2 weeks, so we're definitely
doing a
doing
theater
that
release for that too.
Maybe.
I think there might be a theater release.
But the tidbit before we move on, the tidbit I wanted to say, which is kind of actually a bummer when you think about it, because we didn't love the movie so much, but the writer and director of this movie wrote grumpy old men, grumpier old men, but most importantly, wrote Jack Frost.
Oh my God.
With Michael Keaton. But then also not only just wrote, but wrote and directed Simon Birch.
Oh my God.
So this
what?
director is just making Cheyenne movies.
You would have thought that, but I think this movie was more Christmas than the last one, not to give spoilers, but like, because of the camaraderie.
I can't believe that you're saying that.
Well, I feel like I'm just like the warmth of the relationship between the four friends.
Let's get into our deep dive. Then we'll talk about all of that. All right. Diving in, y'all. So this movie, Champagne Problems, it starts with a little speech about champagne and some old footage. I'm going to be honest, I did not pay attention to the opening credits that much.
It was very like, champagne and the history. And it's like, it was a cute moment. I liked the little old footage they used. It was cute.
Yeah, the champagne like kind of harks to like New Year's. Like,
yes.
A little bit more than
the whole
Christmas.
Movie feels a little New Year's-y to me, for sure.
So we land on Minka Kelly, Sydney. I don't know who Minka Kelly is, but
she's
she
like
is a
Friday
name.
Night Lights. Did you ever watch that?
Okay? So maybe this is a bit bigger budget than Keenan and I realized. Because if she's like an actress that you know by name,
I think just from Friday Night Lights. I don't know if she's
but that
done.
show was huge.
Yeah, it was big.
I watched the first few episodes a long time ago, but not enough that I recognized her.
It was very like soap opera-y, which is why I feel like she's like soap opera-y in her style of acting.
So she's in a boardroom, and they're talking about how they're going to purchase Chateau Cassel for their first champagne acquisition. Yeah, I think for a while I was like thinking the whole company was a liquor company, but they're not. They're
they are, right?
They are.
Are they just an investment group?
They're like an investment group because it says that they help small businesses, but I think they have.
But they mostly are a liquor portfolio.
Yeah, I think so.
They
Yeah,
have like different.
Later, they reference another liquor company that
Bordeaux
so
that they had bought. Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, I think I just made that assumption because I feel like that's normally how it is. But maybe they have all kinds of businesses, possibly.
Yeah, so she's like making a speech to her company about drinking the stars, something.
It's like a quote that they like attributed to Dom Perignon.
And so her boss is like, you know what? You're going to go to Paris and you're going to be the one that does this. And so her coworker, Ryan, apparently is the one that usually works for these things. So he's like mad that she's being sent. Sydney says...
a lot missing with the Ryan guy, don't you? Because like I feel like he's supposed to be her ex.
So much cut.
Because she talks about an ex later in the movie, and she's like, "I'm trying to prove myself to my boss and my ex," and like she alludes to like not being over him, and then like there's just randomly this guy there. I just feel like he's supposed to be a bigger character, but he never really was.
I bet there's so much cutting room floor of him that makes things make way more sense.
Yeah, it kind of did feel like they were exes, and then I was like, are they just coworkers that have like beef? But did you count that as a drink? Or she's not a main character is not over her ex?
Yes, I did.
And then Sydney says, "This is my chance to prove to everyone that I'm ready to take charge." Drink. Heroine desperate to prove herself in her career. And then we go to her apartment. We see her and her sister's like so excited she's going to go to Paris, and she's like, oh my God, you can go see the sights. You can do this. You can do that. She's like, I'm going to work. I love work. work. And they talk about how their mom always wanted to travel. And so she should do it for that. So their mom is dead. Drink, dead parents. But their mom had this dream of owning her own company. It seemed like maybe, she was always kind of down on her luck. There's references later to how like they'd be like staying with people, staying with random boyfriends. And Sydney says like she would have made it if she had investors that believed in her. So you see that this is like why she does this career. Right. She like really believes in like investing in companies and like helping people out. And then their sister did like
it's
pinky
promise propaganda.
Yes.
So
that's Christmas.
Movie. But except for Prancer. But
That's
yeah, okay.
Christmas movies and the Christmas industrial complex. 1-to-1, it's not Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will edit that.
So she's like, I went backpacking. I saw the world because I did, mom wants to see the world. So I went and did it. So like, this is your chance. And she's like, and that's why you have $18 in your bank account. So you see sister's kind of the fuck up one. She tells her, she's like, at least take one night off work. Just go adventure, see Paris, be Sydney again. And they do this pinky promise, which kind of felt like they were going to make out. Did anyone else think that?
They forehead touched. They forehead touched. They did pinky promise, forehead touch, extended forehead touch. I was
And
just
eye
like,
contact.
in no world would I forehead touch my sister for any reason.
You hear that, Mickey? She would never forehead touch you.
I think we tried to do it because her wedding photographer tried to get her to do forehead touch for like photos.
No. Adults
and
wearing makeup, you can't do that.
And we tried to do it as like a joke, and I don't think we could pull it off. So,
But yeah, it was like,
Also,
for some
the
reason, it was this
promise-
extended moment that like felt weird. I don't know.
it was
The
weird. I
promise
agree.
also was like that she wouldn't talk about work at all on
Right.
that night. Like, because that's important later.
Mhm.
Right.
is,
But like
part
a
of that
true
promise is
night
that
off work.
She's not gonna even talk about work, and that's part of the
Don't
pinky promise.
even bring it up.
Yeah. So she goes to Paris. She checks in at the hotel. And, that's when she says, like, I'm only staying 2 nights. And they're like, oh, you should see more of Paris, maybe another time. And she's like, whatever, fuck Paris. Like, I'm here for business, baby.
Yeah.
And
Well, not exactly, but yeah.
She's like only looking at her phone. They try and make a thing of it, which is, and like, for the people that work the desk to be like so sweet with her after this, and like we're supposed to think they have this great relationship with the concierge. It's like, no, they hate her. They would not engage with her again after this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, the concierge, that felt like it was going to be a little bit Christmas magic. Did anyone else
Yes,
feel that?
agree. Yes, I thought so too. So
It
many
drives me
moments.
nuts that it wasn't.
I think
Yes.
it is. I think it is, but I think it's really lightly done. It's like in Princess Switch when the guy was like, was working at the Salvation Army Bell or whatever, and he's like, you should go on an adventure or whatever he said. I forget what he actually says.
No, but
then
that was like actual magic.
It was, but I feel like this was alluding at that, but they didn't lean into it, which they should have.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
it felt like it because he was like, so she asked to go to a bookstore with an English language section. She's like, no French stuff for me. I'm looking for American.
She is buying it for her sister. I will say that.
Yeah. But it was just funny.
That was
like,
a qualifier. Yeah.
but then he asks if she needs a map, and she's like, no, I have my phone, which modern tech drink. But like, she's like, I have my phone. But I'm like, then you also could have Googled a bookstore. But anyway, it's fine.
Yes.
But he was like, oh, I know exactly where you should go. Because it felt like he knew, like, it felt like that Christmas magic, like, I know you're going to find what you're looking for there. So again, it felt like that lightly Christmas magic, and they just didn't lean into it enough, which will,
Well,
it's kind of,
I thought it was going to be more than lightly Christmas magic. When she like couldn't find, she's like using her map on her phone to look for the location, and she like can't find it for a minute. Like she keeps passing it. I'm like, oh, it's going to be Christmas magic. And how they cut it, the first time she walks past it, we don't see it. We just see a big store window of her just looking down at her phone and passes it. And then she turns around and goes back. And it's like, oh, is this like a magical bookstore that doesn't actually exist? And the guy working concierge is Christmas magic wielding. He's made this bookstore up to make her story excel to Christmas. And then, no, it's just a fucking bookstore with no sign.
Yeah, no. It's very annoying. Like, it felt like they gave themselves a lot of options to go that way if they wanted to, and then they just decided not to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that there's a similar character at the chateau with the butler, where, like, he might have been Christmas magic, and they just, like, they gave him weird personality blips, but like they mean nothing because they didn't develop anything else for them. But I think those two men were maybe supposed to be like Christmas magic oriented.
So she gets to the bookstore. It's super cute. The little front door was very cute. And we meet Henri, the love interest. She thinks he works there because he was helping someone. So she asked for the self-help section.
If like I went to Paris and bought my sister a self-help book, just like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, like why is that
at Christmas time
souvenir to bring home for Chris, like from Paris? Like you could just buy one while you're there. You could just order one.
You could buy
to
one
be,
at home.
She's not whimsical. She's not.
No.
She's not. She's like.
She's a businesswoman, Renee.
She's also in brown and cream like the whole time. Like,
I know. And so he's showing her around. There's like music in the back, and then she's like, "Oh, I need to let you get back to work." And he's like, "Oh, I don't work here." And he was like, "I just spend a lot of time here because I want to open a bookstore full, like a wine bar in the back." And she's like, "Oh, I would never leave." And he's like, "Oh, hey." It's very that. And he's like,
this is some groundbreaking idea.
Yeah.
That doesn't
literally,
exist
like changing
everywhere.
hands in Phoenix is
just like there's so many places like this. Yes.
And so she's like, I have to go. I only have one night to see all the sights. And he's like, let me show you around. And she's like, no, I have my plans. I'm going to the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to here. Like, and he's like, oh, nope, trash. All these places are trash. Like, let me show you around like a local.
And then takes her to a Christmas market under the Eiffel Tower, which does not feel like a single thing
the
a
huge
local
Ferris
would
wheel
do.
that, again, I think she could have figured out on her own. But whatever.
Right,
yeah. But anyway, he's like, I'm going to show you
he couldn't take her
Christmas
to Pound Town if he didn't show her around. So
It's true.
That was a real French experience.
At the Christmas market, he's like, you have to try crepes. And she's like, a crepe. And then macarons, and they had hot wine.
Which I assume is mulled wine. And I don't know if like if Netflix doesn't think that we know what mulled wine is, or if they actually call it like hot wine there. Unknown. But mulled wine.
French people, sound off in the comments, please. Thank you.
Yeah. We have a lot of listeners in France, I've heard.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can look at our analytics on YouTube, so we can see how many exactly of our viewers are in France.
And yeah, he's trying to get to know her a little more, but she's like he asks what she does, because I think she says, oh, she has a meeting in the morning, so she only have one hot wine because she has a meeting in the morning. He's like, oh, what do you do for work? And she's like, I can't talk about it. I promised I wouldn't talk about work for a night. And she's like, I pinky promise. And she shows him what a pinky promise is.
French people, sound off in the comments. Do pinky promises exist there?
I feel like they've got to, but I don't know.
Who knows?
Do they not have pinkies in France?
Dumb.
So they go up on the Ferris wheel, which looked super weird. Like the filming, like I was like, how much AI do you think was used in this movie?
Oh, probably
my God. Netflix is probably trying to cut every corner possible using AI. So maybe the whole thing, except for the actors that we can name, are AI. That butler and that concierge could have been.
That's why it was weird. Felt like Christmas magic, but wasn't, because they weren't real.
They were fake, but not in the magical way.
But this is where we find out his mom's dead too.
Yep.
R.I.P.
Dead parent. Which he has this sounds mean, but he has so many memories. He's like, oh, we did this every year, like constantly through the movie. Oh, we did this every year. Oh, we sat out here every night. Oh, this is like our tradition. This is our thing. But she died when he was 6. I have 0 memories before. I mean, maybe I remember my first day of kindergarten.
For a while.
It doesn't sound like it.
It doesn't sound like it, though. No.
Sounds like he went to work and left his kid to fend for himself and, like, had to hide a book, which is, like, a whole thing in this part, which is obvious foreshadowing.
Yeah. So he says his dad sucks. He says he's a hole in the ass, which I actually did really like that. I think that's a good phrase. His dad really wants him to take over the family business, but he doesn't want to. He talks about his favorite book was Le Petit Prince. I'm so glad you could understand what those words were. Well, it's a classic story.
Oh, I don't know. Books.
The Little Prince, but
Little Prince. But I think it's a French book originally, because I always hear it as Le Petit Prince. I feel like it's such like a classic thing for like, that's my favorite book. Like that guy would say that, you know.
And was he saying he hid it a bunch because the dad would not let him
take it away from him, because he carried it everywhere? So the dad is evil. So yeah, which is interesting, because like, so going into this, I'm like, I think of his dad being so evil, and then we meet him, I'm like, he doesn't seem that evil, and then you kind of get like, you know, jumping ahead a little bit, he's like, no, I was in like a deep depression because my wife died. So I wonder if maybe it was because he carried it everywhere and it smelled like her perfume that he...
Oh, right, yeah.
Which again wasn't really explained, but like when I was watching, I was like, he doesn't really seem like a jerk. And I'm like wondering, like even when we first met him and I was like, are we going to see that he really has this terrible dark side? And I'm like, no. So I'm like, I don't think he would like take the book away from the little boy to be like mean, but more as like maybe it was like the perfume smell that was like making him upset.
Or it was just like a gift from his mother, and then he's carrying around this constant reminder. To the father.
And he was finally like, "You got to put
my
this
camera
away."
keeps adjusting because I'm knitting.
That's okay.
But he said he used to hide it all over the place until he finally forgot where he hid it. And at first I was like, how can you not find it? And then you see where he lives, and you're like, okay, there's a lot of hiding spots.
That's how.
Yeah, but when we do eventually find it, which is not a spoiler because it was obvious foreshadowing. I mean, somebody would have found that.
Yeah, you think someone
that was not that hidden.
But yeah, as soon as he said that, I'm like, she's gonna be the one that finds the book. I also thought that. And this is where she finally talks about herself a little bit, and she says that her ex cheated on her. And yeah, I wonder if that is her coworker because it
has to be. It was just such a random like moment. I don't know why they left that part in at all because they make it seem like we're supposed to know anything about the ex and we don't.
Yeah. But this is when they kiss on the Ferris wheel, and for some reason, I also was like, this feels too fast. Like, how are we getting to this part in the movie already? But then
I'm glad
it was a speed run. That whole like beginning of Paris felt like we were speed running rom-com stories.
Yeah, and so I was like, where are we going from here? But we will see. And so the next morning she wakes up in his bed and he left a note that he'll be back, but she realizes that he says, I'll be right back, Pinky promise, which is cute. And she's like, she realizes that she's going to be late for her meeting because, that hot wine really did her in. And so she runs out to get back to her hotel. He comes back with breakfast, which is a baguette and more macarons. And she's gone. So she runs back to the hotel and she's like, oh my God, I'm super late. How do I get there? And then he's like, it's going to take 30 minutes by cab. It's 20 minutes by walking. She's like, what's faster? And he's like, running.
Loved that. Keenan and I really were, that was like our favorite anything. Just like the perfect answer. Any way to get there faster? Run. I don't know. Bitch, figure out your life.
Yeah, your problem. So we get to the acquisition meeting, and this is where we meet our other main characters. So we meet them, and she's also kind of like, what are you guys doing here? And we find out they're all pitching to buy this company. We meet Roberto. He wants to buy the company because it's his favorite champagne, and he's afraid if it gets sold to one of these businesses, the quality is going to diminish. And he's like, this is what I use for my parties, and my parties are my life. All I do is party. His dad's like a billionaire because he invented some microchip. Roberto has no idea. He's never worked in a day in his life. He's here for a good time and to drink champagne. That's pretty much it.
Baby.
We meet Otto.
He gets it.
Otto's German. And he pitches
that.
That's it.
That's pretty much his character. German and sad. Chateau Cassel needs to be more efficient, and he thinks Germans are the best at efficiency. So that's like his whole pitch. Which, oh my God, his pitch video though.
The best.
Best
part of the movie. Best part of the movie.
Funny.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Brigitte, she has done these acquisitions before. She's local. She believes champagne should stay in the hands of the French, and she obviously has a relationship with Hugo. So
she brings it up quite often that they've known each other for 30 years.
Yeah.
I think it's been said like 5 times at this point in the movie, it feels like.
Yeah.
Also, I'm knitting Keenan the scarf from Doctor Who for Christmas.
Oh my
and
gosh,
it will be
so
12 feet long when it's done. I know.
Yeah, you made a lot of...
That is going to be really good.
You've done a lot.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Sydney's pitch is she's kind of just saying their whole production is like antiquated. She's bringing up like how they could have, like this year they had tons of wine and they could have if they had somewhere to store it, I don't know anything about wines or champagne.
It's just that like their process is antiquated and they don't have backup reserves because they're dealing in it, like they're still functioning in an antiquated way that is going to be the ruin of the company if they continue. And she even kind of like at some point makes points against Brigitte's company that like they had the same issue. Like they didn't plan for this. So like go with our company. We've got ideas.
Yeah. And then someone else rushes into the meeting late and you see it's Henri. And we find out.
Do you think Henri is only mad at her because she left without leaving a note? Do you think all of this could have been cut out if she just left a note as well?
No, I don't think he's mad. Maybe.
He was so mean to her at the meeting.
Well, he only like switches into anger when he sees that she's with the Roth group.
Specifically the Roth company, because or the Roth group, whatever they're called. Yeah,
okay. I guess TRG. I missed that being specifically the reason. I was like, oh, is he mad because she just left his apartment? He left that cute note and she just ran out with nothing. Like left no contact information.
Probably
left
didn't
no
help.
note.
Yeah, it didn't help for sure.
But yeah, whenever he finds out that she's with the Roth group, he's really mad because he knows that another vineyard was bought by TRG and they kind of like screwed over the original owners. And Sydney says that I guarantee that Hugo will stay on as president if we buy it. And Hugo's like, you know what? Change of plans. You guys are all going to come stay at Chateau Cassel for the weekend, and I'm going to get to know you, and then I'll decide who buys the company.
Yeah. And then we go to Champagne.
Yeah, they go to Champagne.
This is like, I mean, where we kind of really start to get the feel of the characters. So, like, Roberto's on the train, Otto's on the train, Brigitte is on the train, and Sydney's like the last to arrive, and Roberto's like, oh, great, he's got like a little pop-up like wine thing, he's ready to party.
She's like, it's 9 a.m. and he's like, yeah, it is.
I know.
Yeah, he was ready. He's like, that's great.
But my like favorite line, I think, was when Otto's like, my body's a temple, and Roberto's like, oh, mine's more of a bouncy castle.
Roberto is the best character in this entire film. Like here, I know we're only partway through this, but Roberto is the only truly lovable and enjoyable character in this entire thing. And no one but this like coworker and boss are like hateable in this at all. Yeah. But Roberto is just like the most lovable, most enjoyable. Yes. I want a movie exclusively about him.
He really makes you think maybe rich people aren't so bad. I love
one
him.
exception to prove the rule, as always.
Oh, this is where we find out Sydney's lactose intolerant.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's important for like later, but only kind of. It's like barely a moment in the movie. So then we're at Chateau Cassel, and it's been there since 1682. This is like where I have questions because I'm just like, I don't understand how he even thinks it's an option to not continue the family business. The house has been there since 1682. Just hire somebody to do the production, to do the operations, and start it's not like you want to like move to Silicon Valley and start a tech business. You want to have a bookshop with wine in it. Like these things are not totally divergent of each other. You can do both. Like
you could probably do that in Champagne.
Yeah,
which we find out later.
I definitely thought like the whole thing was he was going to stay on and keep the family business running, and then she was going to take over the production stuff, and he could focus on the bookstore, and they would, like I was like, that's definitely where this is going. It's
just like the name of the movie is accurate because every problem in this movie is a champagne problem. Like real, like even between the love interests, they're like, whenever they're in opposition, it doesn't even feel that like
we didn't get much conflict with them. They kind of he was kind of like, sorry, I was so mean to you, like 2 seconds later.
But it was like he wasn't that mean to her. Like everything feels like it's barely happening. Why is this even a question? Just like have one conversation and you guys will be sorted out. But I guess that's kind of every rom-com. So,
Also,
But in
at the
this one,
point
I
of the
felt like they
train-
resolved and started like going back to their flirting like one day later.
Right, yes. Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes.
When
Yeah.
Keenan and I were watching this together, the minute like Roberto was being Roberto on the train, Keenan was like, I hope he gets it. I hope he gets the company.
He deserves it. I mean, just like he deserves everything in the billions of dollars he has. Anyway, Sydney kind of like on her own when she gets some alone time here at the chateau is starting to look into, calls her boss and is trying to look into Chateau Le Berge that Henri had brought up, that was also acquired by TRG and was broken up in pieces, because she's trying to like get to the bottom of the truth of that, because that's important to know if she works for an evil company or not, which like duh.
Yeah,
Like
and,
old
and
white
like
man.
she says, the whole reason that she does this is to help small business. Like she's really trying to do it for a good reason,
Right.
even though she is like
It's a good
business.
reason.
It's not about like she's not. A lot of the times when they're trying to prove themselves in their career, like they usually don't care. It's a terrible place at the beginning, and then their heart changes. But she seemed like her heart was in the right place from the beginning.
Yeah. We find out the boss is going to send Ryan, which we think is maybe the ex, but was never actually said, because he's mad that she's not being like ruthless enough. The dad's been trying to fix up this old car, and he says that Henri hasn't been home in 3 Christmases, which we find out later, like Henri really only came because he was like, oh, that girl's going to be there. But then they have dinner, and this is like fun Christmas time. Like these are Christmas moments in the movie. Roberto just kind of opens. He's like, oh, I've only ever wanted 3 things for Christmas. And he's excited because this is kind of fitting one of those. But he says a monkey butler, a robot butler, and friends like the Friends and Friends, which is very
Friends
cute.
like the Friends and Friends really made me and Keenan laugh.
Mm-hmm. It was cute. I mean, I'm not a Friends watcher, so I didn't like have a heartwarming moment, but just like wanting friends as being your like thing that I can relate. So that was cute.
You too
then-
can be our friend if
Yes.
you just send us.
Yeah.
some
You just have to
money.
pay and then bring some other friends in.
I'm gonna pop in that graphic again because I
It's
spent
okay.
a little time making it. This is we're here, and then you guys, if you bring 5 friends, we said 5 friends, but I used the emoji symbol, so there's only 4. Bring 4
Well, there's
friends.
4 of us. It makes more sense. 4.
4. We're switching it to 4. You only need to bring 4 people. So if you were on the fence, we just dropped it. Okay, great. And then Otto's does his whole thing about like Krampus. And does anybody want to take the lead on talking about this Krampus moment? Because I know kind of almost nothing.
Too bad Lauren's not
It's
here,
really
but-
Lauren's time to shine.
I know. But she's
Mame can
not
do
here. She had to
but
leave.
she's not here.
We can put in
Um,
little blurbs of things she would say, like little speech bubbles. But one thing that I noticed, because I've heard like, some Krampus stuff because I'm friends with Halloween people. And the one thing I hadn't heard before was the wife replaces intestines of children with garbage.
with garbage.
And they call her the mother of recycling.
I feel like,
That part was just a joke, but
yeah, like I was like, I
assume.
want to know, because like there was a whole name for it and everything. I was like, wait, I gotta look into her.
I do think
and see
I
if
feel
this
like
is
I've
based on something.
I've heard that, not the mother of garbage or mother of recycling, but I think I'd heard about the intestines. It seems slightly familiar. I feel like I'd heard it mentioned in like some
it
movie.
It feels familiar, but it might not be a Christmas thing, is what I'm thinking. It
It might
just
be
be
fully
another
made up,
German
but I think it's-
Oh,
folk
yeah.
character that they melded together for that. But Krampus is like the anti Kris Kringle in that he punishes the bad children at Christmas time. So he will kidnap the really bad ones. He will come and beat the bad children. And it seems like your gift is not getting kidnapped or beaten if you're good.
But I love his take on it, that he's like so obsessed with it, and he's like most Germans, I realized Krampus wasn't real until I was in my mid-20s.
And he's like, and I was so he was so upset
so
about
upset. And he said he loves Christmas because it's the one day he can sit by a dead tree eating candy out of his shoe without being judged.
He's a freak, and I love
he
it.
has like a lot of good lines, and he piles them in like one right after another anytime he gets like a little moment, which was good.
I was gonna say, is his Christmas tree moment in the brief as well?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. That was good.
Throwaway joke that really got me too.
Yeah. The dad takes him through a blind tasting, and like Sydney and Brigitte do it normal, and then Otto's like, I smell nothing from an accident of some kind. And then Roberto goes on this whole like diatribe about this like love affair he had when he was younger, and the guy sunk to the bottom of the sea. But then he's like, or maybe he just goes to he's just like all the best parts. But then he just like throws on at the very end that he knows the exact bottle, the exact vintage. Yeah, so he's great. Then Brigitte like asks specifically for all the cheese to be brought out because she knows Sydney's lactose intolerant. So this is kind of her little villain moment. But it's like only just short lived. She's in the bathroom for a little while, and Henri comes to get her. But they have to, just like a fart moment. And then, but she has to go back out. She can't stand for the night because they're doing Christmas activities. They do a horse carriage. That was very pretty. Like a horse carriage ride to this crazy parade, which I looked up. It's called, there's no way I can say it. Habits de Lumiere.
It's held every Festival of Lights, right? Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah. It's a festival where champagne houses will, like, open their doors for special evenings or cultural events, and then they have this, like, big parade and festival moment. There were fireworks. There were these crazy, like, lighted floating things that looked really cool.
Yeah.
They were like lanterns, kind of like huge lanterns.
They were almost cool.
Like, I actually really loved those. I thought that was really beautiful. But then next thing you know, they're at a silent disco.
Is that what happened? I don't even remember that happening.
Yeah, silent disco.
They had headphones on?
Yeah, so there was a part where they're having a conversation and everyone's behind them just like with their headphones on. I was like, not this.
Did not even register that. But we also see the Zaddy Claus in this moment, which Roberto's very into.
Which comes back.
Which is crazy that I allowed myself to say that.
Hey, we're all proud of you. That's growth, Cheyenne.
Yeah.
I'm reading the words. I'm not thinking about it. Okay. But anyway, so that night...
Oh, yeah, I think this is where Henri, he goes and gets her macarons as a peace offering. I think, and that's when they kind of talk, and I think that's when they're standing in front of the silent disco.
Oh,
and I was
like, the macaron moment.
This is, like, it was supposed to be like this like meaningful moment. Everyone behind them is just like, I was like, it's not cool.
At the end of the night, Sydney like goes and chats in Roberto's room because she's just kind of like upended about what do I do about this like work versus love situation that she's in. And this is where I feel like it's appropriate to say Roberto is gay best friend trope. Drink.
Yes. Drink.
Because now she's like connected to him. She's going into his room at night. It's allowed now.
And I also feel like she doesn't really have friends at home.
No, yeah. Well, who would be friends with her?
Our first friend we've seen in the movie.
Yeah, because it's like before...
All she has is a sister and boss and maybe ex-boyfriend that is not well explained.
Yeah, because I feel like usually in these movies they have someone that they're like talking to at home and hers is her sister, but we're not seeing any like friendship. So he is now gay best friend. He is her first friend.
Mm-hmm, first friend ever, which I don't know why you would be friends with her. The next morning they go and they do like a whole like vineyard education day. Basically, this felt like things that happen at my work related things, but they do pruning. The dad's like showing them how to do the pruning. Otto loves that part because it's like sharp and thorns. They do riddling where you like turn the bottles a quarter. And you have to like to get the sediment to go in the bottom, and then they pull the corks out and recork them. And Henri is the best at this, which is not a surprise because he grew up on a vineyard. And then we come back for the Christmas tree decorating part, which was very cute. The only thing is, I wish for Roberto's character, because he's my favorite character, I wish he had done a better job with his half of the tree. Anyone else?
Well, it was very festive. It was ugly, but it was very festive.
It was very ugly. There was a lot of light.
There was a lot of tinsel and decoration. Yeah, I loved Otto's theming being Malaise.
Yeah, Roberto said he's going for, what was it? Oh, I'm going for Chuck E. Cheese on Mellis Island. And Otto's going for malaise. Yeah, it was very good.
Christmas malaise is very funny a theme.
Also, this was a funny joke. They were like, what do you normally do on Christmas? And Roberto said all these different events. But then the last one I thought was funny. It was a 7-themed, like after after New Year's and everything, he said, we do a 7-themed Secret Santa party called What's in the Boxing Day, which I thought was funny. And then Otto says they watched Die Hard, but they consider it a tragedy, which I also thought was funny. What do they call it? Die slowly?
Die slowly.
Mm-hmm.
I love that everybody's trying to make the case. They're like, yeah, but like, oh yeah, he was going to take all that money. What was he going to do with it? We think of it as Robin Hood story. And it's very funny. That whole thing. Otto does just get a lot of really good jokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he gets a lot of the good jokes. And she knows so much about Die Hard because she goes back and forth with him on it. She's like, but he blew up the whatever. And he's like, we don't know like what he was going to do with the money.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, they're trying to make their workers work at Christmas. Like, this is like, he's all anti-capitalism. And he's like, I loved it.
Yeah,
it's funny. Great. But yeah, and then we get to the next day is when, or no, that's the same day. So they're all one-on-one doing their pitches to Hugo. Otto is up first, and his pitch video is so good. It is a black and white brutalist advertisement for champagne featuring elves and Krampus. And we see about probably 60 seconds of it, floating champagne bottles across a brutalist
with the
city.
With the strings hanging. That was my favorite part.
Like, so funny. And then he does talk about how he has a director's cut of it that is 68% longer, which is also very funny because what more could there be to that?
Right.
He said also with more information, and I'm like, that's probably what he needed to make the decision because there was no information in the first one, and Hugo's still like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I got it.
I think Otto picked up on he was never going to get this.
Yeah.
After the smell challenge at dinner, and he has no sense of smell, he was maybe feeling a little down for the count in general. But then Roberto's pitch comes, and pretty much Roberto's pitch is him talking to Hugo about how to saber a bottle of champagne.
And then he fucks it up. He breaks the bottle.
He does it with the glass, though.
Yes, because Hugo's like, oh, you can't do it without a saber. And then he does it with the glass and breaks the entire bottle. And then Bridget does her pitch. He's kind of in his own world and zoned out, not really hearing it, which is exactly what you do to your friend or at least, work coworker of 30 years. You just zone out when they're pitching to you.
But you can see
I do.
Yeah, he's getting into. You can see he's getting into his feelings about selling.
Christmas is weighing on him.
Yeah,
and the family and the holidays. It's all kind of coming together.
And is she not concerned because he's fully not looking at her? He's looking out the window. She's not hello,
I feel like she is banking on her getting it. I think
she's just
I think she has the confidence that she's like, oh, we're getting this.
She's the most reasonable choice at this point, except for not really, because what he did decide made the most sense.
So then we get to Sydney. Her pitch isn't even actually a pitch. They go on a walk. Her and Hugo go on a walk together. He talks about his dead wife. He wasn't strong enough for Henri. And they talk about how the French translation of missing someone isn't actually that you miss them, that they are missing from you. And that is a very sweet sentiment, I will say. And that's how he's felt about Sophie since she died, but also about Henri, even though he's, physically there.
Yeah. He's a bad dad.
And then, so we kind of get an idea that he understands that he is a bad dad on top of it. And then we've got looking for Bubbles. Henri and Sydney get alone time while they're looking for the dog who has run away after a CGI rabbit.
Yes, very fake rabbit.
Very fake looking rabbit. Very real.
I definitely didn't even think CGI. I was like, this is straight up just an AI rabbit. When I watched it, I was
not even CGI, just AI. I don't know the difference.
So,
I don't really either, but it looks bad.
They're looking around for the dog. Everybody's split up. Sydney and Henri are together. And then they go to the like wine cellar, checking if the dog would be down there. And she finds both the dog and Le Petit Prince, the book that he lost many years ago
almost
as a child.
Christmas magic moment. It's like
no, that's too easy to be Christmas magic.
Like the dog led her to the book, but just like tell us it's Christmas magic.
Like have the dog pull the book out of there. Like actually make it be Christmas magic. Like
or just like a little twinkling, like a little the book.
But nothing. It's just she practically finds it and it's there and it wasn't really
because it was fully visible.
And it was like but it was with a bunch of empty bottles that like obviously had been back there for a long time is kind of the idea,
I guess.
Not like that's acceptable. It's just
it's okay.
The answer
we believe
it is. So then the dog has been found. They head back to the house and when she and Henri get into the house they find out that her coworker Ryan, maybe her ex, has shown up. And she and Ryan have a little meetup where she finds out that TRG plans to go around Hugo and take Chateau Cassel. And she was like, oh, and like Hugo's not going to get to stay on as president. They're going to sell the company to the Japanese instead, and it will just be a completely new company now, and their hands will kind of be washed free of any guilt in that. Henri overhears the door, but of course doesn't hear her putting up any sort of fight against this as, you know, being a bad thing because it's poor in moral spirit and stuff like that. The things that she wants to be. She wants to be a good person helping businesses that need help.
Like what? You guys are a bad company? Oh.
Yeah. And like in this, we hear that like the offer has already been made to TRG. Like TRG has been sold, like it has been given the go that they're going to be the company that are sold to. But nobody else knows this yet. Henri hears this through the door, doesn't hear all of it, but then he like pretty much breaks things off with her that night. He's like, we should say bye now. Ends things with her. I need to be here for my father tomorrow. Like you need to be there for your company. Kind of shades her a little bit. Sydney talks to Hugo, and we bring up the car that he's like working on repairing before?
Yeah, he's been trying to fix up this car. I briefly mentioned it, yeah.
Can't get it to run at the night market or the light festival. There was like a car show that he wished he could have the car at, blah, blah, blah. So he's in the garage working. Sydney goes and is chatting with him. In this conversation, they're talking about how her mom had the same car and her mom would always work on it. And she pretty much gives him the advice that gets the car back up and running. And I kind of thought we would be getting the moment of her telling Hugo what, like, her company was doing.
Yeah,
in a good
I'm sure it was just cut, but it's obvious
because
she's going to tell him.
She starts doing
I don't know,
it, and
I
it
think
fades
you're supposed to be surprised. Oh, she does start doing it? Okay.
She's kind of like, because he's like, oh, you obviously have something else on your mind. She's like, well, and then it was like, goes into the next scene. So you can tell that this is where she was like, these bitches.
And she leaves.
These bitches, yeah. And then she leaves in the middle of the night.
I was just going to say, her being able to, like, fix the car, like, he hasn't been working on it for years, and then she's just like, oh, did you try this thing? And he was like, aha, you're right. That's the one thing I didn't check.
But yeah, then, she leaves in the middle of the night. What leads me to believe more about the character of the butler was that they had some sort of friendship. He seemed sad to see her go, so that means there was something there. And then in the morning, everybody is in the living room together, and they're like, "Oh, should we wait for Sydney?" And they're like, "Oh no, she's
gone.
She got out of here. She's good." And we find out that Hugo is selling Chateau Cassel to Roberto the way it should be. This is a great decision. And
also, Roberto, it's the obvious one. Oh, somebody with a bunch of money that will let me continue to do what I'm doing.
Everything.
Great.
Well, because he tries to talk him out of it. He's like, I don't know how to run a business. I just like to party. And he's like, okay, fine. I'll do it. You do everything. You stay on and I'll just give you the money. Because he's like, oh, I thought he's like, he says how much it is. It's like 60 million euros. And he's like, oh, I thought it was going to be a large number. Yeah,
like
that's
a big number. Yeah, I know. He's very rich.
But Roberto talking about like why he shouldn't do it. He's like, everything I know about France, I learned from Ratatouille. which love. Very,
Yeah, I
very
love that.
us
Very
kind
cute.
of joke.
And pandering to the audience for sure.
Yes.
I feel like people really love Ratatouille. Like one generation younger than me.
Oh, I love Ratatouille.
That's
I mean, I
me.
love Ratatouille too, but like there's like a cult, like, you know.
I agree. It is beloved by a certain generation, especially. But yeah, so then, you know, weekend's over. It's been chosen. The winner has been chosen correctly. Roberto is buying the company because he's very, very rich and it doesn't matter to him. And then, you know, Roberto makes it clear that then now they can all be friends. Otto is excited that he can be in a group chat with them, which love that. If Otto, Roberto, Bridget, and Sydney were the best friends club, who is who?
Yeah, I was wondering this. We all want to be Roberto.
I'm kind of a cunt, but I'm lovely otherwise. And I think that Lauren
no, but we can't make anyone Sydney
because we have talked too much shit about Sydney. Here's the thing: I didn't hate Sydney as much as you guys did, so I'll just take Sydney.
Nobody's Sydney. We would not be friends with Sydney. Nobody would be friends with Sydney.
Yeah, she wasn't like the worst person, but she didn't have any of our qualities that.
But she wore brown through the whole Christmas movie, so that's a problem.
I just don't think any of us are Sydney.
Yeah, none of us are
but
Sydney.
That's the thing. I don't think Sydney is bad. I think we just got a weird cross-section of her life. We got, 2 weeks when she had to travel for work at the holidays? Poor girl. We're seeing the other people, like, Roberto doesn't have a care in the world. He's just there for a good time. We get the best of him. And then Brigitte, she thinks she's got it in the bag. Okay, great. So we really got an answer to that. But I was going to say Lauren is Otto because she is the quiet one who will say weird facts and stuff to you.
And
so like it feels like Lauren would pull out like the weird, morbid like connection to whatever you're doing. And
and Renee's Roberto
is very quiet otherwise.
Renee's Roberto because she's like so positive and a good time. Yes,
that's true. I was going to say either of you.
I'd say maybe Cheyenne was Roberto.
I'm not positive enough.
You're not positive enough, but you are the like you'll force us to have fun by you being fun in occasions. Even if it's not a good time, you'll make jokes that make us have to enjoy what we're doing.
Or I'll just say we're all having a good time.
True. Yeah.
I do that.
I feel like you have some Roberto qualities.
Yeah.
But Renee is also wildly active and fun and young feeling, which Roberto I think had those, and I think Renee has those as well.
This is so cool. Like, that feels like Roberto.
Yeah.
Yes. This is cool.
So wait, Maine Brigitte, Renee Roberto, Lauren Otto, me Sydney's sister, Meatball Sydney?
Or, yes. The career-driven one of us, Meatball.
Yes.
That fat slut is Sydney. I was going to say, you could also be the dog.
Oh, Bubbles. Yeah.
Bubbles wore Christmas outfits, too.
Great character.
Yes.
Had a Christmas outfit. Like, lovely character, warm, has a lot to say. Christmas outfit, Cheyenne, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm Bubbles. I like that.
Yeah. It's much better than Sydney's sister.
Yeah, because she's fine.
Yeah, she's terminally whatever. She's kind of seems just like another version of Sydney, which is not, yet again, not you.
And she did Soul Cycle. I would never do that.
But she also didn't care about working out. She just sat there and talked on the
So
she was there to be an
me.
influencer.
Yeah. Oh, but that's not me. But anyway,
not you.
We figured it out.
Sound off in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think is who? And then Henri takes the Fiat to go get Sydney because his car is taken by the butler. I know, that car that hasn't actually been driven in
years and like a long drive from Champagne.
And it's making a bunch of noises. Like they put like weird car noises
in
throughout.
The full snow with no other cars or people around. Very scary.
Ridiculous. But he does it. It's fine. There's no hijinks that ensue there. Ridiculously. And then Sydney sums things up for the concierge because she goes back to the original hotel to stay one more night before she leaves, I guess, or that morning into when she leaves, whatever. She didn't close the deal. I didn't close the deal. I quit my job. I got my heart broken, but I did fall in love, found strength that I never knew that I had, and made friends along the way. So I guess you can say champagne problems. And then she leaves, and then Henri makes it to the hotel, but she is long gone at that point. But the concierge, who probably should have hated her or been Christmas magic and been like Santa, tells Henri that like he might know where to find her, which is the bookstore.
Pretty woman moment, yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes back to the bookstore. They have their moment. She tells him that you're missing from me too, and they kiss. And that's kind of like, at first it kind of like she's pushing him away, and I'm like, why are you doing this?
Movies, so
well, no, not like that. I mean, like she's kind of being very cold. And I'm like, he raced to find you.
He never explains that, I overheard you saying, great, I'm going to take this company. And so, like, if he explained that, but he doesn't. And so I think that's why she's kind of like, what are you doing here? You just blew me off for no reason when we were having a great time. It's kind of how she feels, which is valid. But I'm like, he could have just said that.
But she could have also just said that she wasn't staying with her company, because he's like, I need to be there for my family and you need to be there for your company. And she had already known at that point she was leaving her company. She could have just said, but I'm leaving my company.
That's not what people do in rom-coms.
I don't work there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, Renee. That's why Renee is the expert. She'll correct us.
Yeah.
Logic comes to mind. But yeah, then they're kissing. It wraps up that scene with them kissing, and then it opens to 1 year later, them still kissing. They're in their wine bookstore.
Cute moment.
And then like you go through the whole wine bookstore, and like Brigitte and Hugo are obviously romantically together now, which makes a lot of sense. And then Otto is reading a Krampus book to the children, and the sister is like, let's read a different book instead. So like the sister and Otto, maybe they're a fling to happen.
Who knows?
And then Roberto is a silent partner, and he's still thinking about the hot Santa. And I love him. I love that he has an ongoing Christmas relationship with him. And they pan away, and the bookstore is next to the chateau, which feels impossible because, like, who's gonna go? People walking away from it. Like, you have a vast property that you're
huge.
On.
When he was driving away, it was like they're out in the country, and like, that is just totally crazy because number one, it's the same business. You're on the same property. This is a subsection of your business.
It's your house.
You could have done this the whole time. Everybody knows that if that was an option. And nobody's coming. Like Sydney, who's so great at business.
They didn't have money.
They needed that investor. $60 million. They still needed
They needed the investor for a business that's not going to make any money. So we definitely need somebody that's just willing to pour money into this for no reason.
Yeah,
so
into the company, and then and that was that. That was Champagne Promises. Or no, Champagne Problems.
Champagne Peaky Promises or something.
The real name of the movie.
Oh, I got you that shirt.
Yeah, I know.
So cute.
I saw Jason Dela. Oh my god, that was the Christmas thing I did this week.
Oh my god, you didn't even say.
That was a
Keaton
big one.
and I and our friend Connor went to see Jinx and Dela because for my birthday, Cheyenne bought me and Keenan tickets to Jinx and Dela. We had to drive an hour and a half. I drove the car on the way back.
You did great.
Good job.
I did great. I got us home. We bought a ticket for Connor for his kindness in helping us get our lives together when we first moved here. So we bought a ticket, and the three of us went, and it was very sweet. I had posted a photo from the stage, and the next day, Dela was like, "Wait, you were there?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, we had a great time. The show was really good." If you haven't already bought tickets to the Jinx and Dela holiday show, wherever you live, get those tickets and see the show because this was one of my favorite live ones that I've seen. It was very funny. It was cute.
I'm excited. I'm seeing it twice. Because I'm seeing with Amanda. We go to the LA showing every year because they don't usually come to Phoenix. And we go with Amanda, and now it's become tradition to go with her there. And then, but they're
But
coming to
then they're in
Phoenix. So obviously I'm going with Lauren and Eric when they're here.
Since you gave them COVID last time, they still are
They
coming
gave
back.
me COVID, and I will never not believe that. You can't say I gave them COVID. They gave me COVID.
I know.
got
We
COVID
know they gave you COVID.
after.
They came from Florida or from Texas, either place.
Right.
They were in Texas prior
Same.
to us in Phoenix. They definitely gave you COVID.
Yeah.
But we love them still. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Please go see the show if you can. It's really one of the best ones, and it's such a labor of love for all of them. So go see their fantastic show.
I just have to
Okay,
say,
you guys. Now it is time to do our Christmas ratings. You maybe thought Lauren was gone because she hasn't been here for a while, but she actually is here
She's
because
back
we did.
and Christmassier than ever.
It's not that we did the ratings before we did the deep dive. We would never do that.
Nope.
So, all right. So it's time for Christmas ratings. Who wants to go first? Lauren?
I'll go first. So I will say I actually did kind of like this movie. But yeah, like aesthetically, it was definitely not very Christmassy, especially compared to our last movie we did. But I will say, at one point, Cheyenne says like with the friendships that were made during this movie, I thought that was like really sweet and cute. Definitely like more of the heartfelt moment for me than even the relationship.
Oh yeah, for sure. Don't care about that at all.
So I did get in my feels about that. And I really liked all the like German Christmas references made by Otto.
Very funny.
Those were great. Relatable. Yeah, so I will say it's tough because it's like I thought the movie actually was like entertaining, but like super Christmassy, I wouldn't say. So I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 5.
That's reasonable.
Okay.
I think.
One up from your last one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because last week you said 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Renee, I'm desperate to know. I want to go last because I had such a differing opinion from all of you last week.
That's I feel like gonna be the case a lot.
I know I'm like so torn now. Because good points with the friendship. I also thought the relationship with his father, I thought felt really lovely. Like it did feel like that heartfelt Christmassy moment. I think it was the relationship between the two of them that I like didn't care about in this one at all. But you're right. I loved like the friendships, especially for like when it showed them like a year later, which again, is that part of the bingo? If that's not on the bingo card, 1 year later needs to be.
Oh, 1 year later.
I don't think it is.
So far back to back and in a lot of movies. And it's very weird that we've never talked about this before.
Well, it's back to back all 3 of them because the happiest season one that we cut and didn't get like isn't going to go put out is another flash to a year later.
And a lot of the classics do it. So yeah, let's add that. Maybe instead of mention a Prancer, because I don't know if we're going to see that much, and it's going to probably bring down the ratings for some of these, Cheyenne.
Because I know you want to put extra.
You want to put it on there. But if it's actually being added into the ratings, I don't know how often it'll happen. Anyway,
I mean, I think it's important, but that's okay. I'm willing to sacrifice.
Okay. So I want to give it a 6 again, but I feel like that's why I give the last movie. I'm like, everything is just barely Christmas to me. And I think that's true. I think so far with the movies we've watched, they're
the
barely
most
Christmas.
educated, I feel like, in this category. Cheyenne and I will watch a lot of Christmas movies, but I feel like you are the one who will do a lot more of the like less good ones.
The Christmas rom-com, the classic Christmas rom-com, where like, I would say it's maybe like a 6 because I didn't get any feelings from the relationship. I did get feelings from the outside cast. I did love like the snowy, cute, like French little town. Like once they left Paris, so beautiful.
When they were in Champagne.
I love the little magical bookstore at the beginning. I'm gonna give it a 6 again. Just Christmas, but just barely.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go next. I think aesthetically, yes, it's like a lot less Christmas than the last movie we watched, but I don't find that to be the most important. I find like how engaged was I and how much did I like care about these characters and their like Christmas life together. And they made strong friendships because of like they bonded over what did you do in your childhood Christmas and what did you do in your childhood Christmas and what holiday plans do you normally do. They talked a lot about Christmas things and like what Christmas means to each of them. We saw like a Christmas festival in France that's like happens every year at Christmas that maybe didn't like aesthetically look that Christmas to me, but it's definitely Christmas, and felt really magical. And there was like a lot of moments that felt magical, maybe more in like a New Year's Eve kind of feel of magical, but you know, that's still holiday. So
but is it Christmas?
Yeah, I know that's a great question. But what I really cared about was like that they're together again at Christmas. It meant so much to them doing Christmas before, a year before. Now, like Otto's pumped about the group chat. I definitely don't care about the two main characters. So that's a obvious downgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hated the clothes so much that I was like getting like hives. I was so mad. But so I was a 5 last week, but I think I cared about the people more. So, and like in a Christmas way. So I'm going to bump it to a 6.
Interesting. This is a 2. This movie is not Christmas. I stand by that this movie can happen any time of year. This movie is not even remotely Christmas, down to their clothing is terrible. There's like maybe 7 Christmassy shots in the entire thing. So visually, it's a like nothing for Christmas time. Because when you're inside of like a lot of the locations, there's like no Christmas decorations, or there's like very minimal Christmas decorations. As you mentioned, the wardrobe, not Christmas at all. The storyline could have happened any time of the year. I really think I'm being giving by giving it a 2 and not a 1. I think that this was not Christmas. This is barely bare minimum Christmas. I understand the story aspect of it being Christmas, but I feel like how harshly last week was rated for its Christmasness.
Yeah.
This one is way less Christmas.
I think Mame only goes for the aesthetics. She was like, "There's Christmas decorations all in the last one, so it's an 8. There were no Christmas decorations. It's a 2," which I guess that's part of it.
Yeah, no, it's very part of it.
Like I, for a second, thought that the bookstore was going to be, like not a real thing. Like I thought it was going to be something that appeared via Christmas Magic exclusively, because there was like no signage. It was just a little like window and door that you couldn't see into, and we were like, oh, this is going to be the magic of Christmas makes this bookstore, and that's going to be like, then it was like, no, not at all. And
there were so many moments
felt very generic to that, but yeah, I was like, I wasn't compelled by the story because I felt like it could happen any time of year. It's great that they are all friends at the end, which is cute, but yeah.
I completely understand your point of view. I feel like on a different day, I might be exactly there with you. I was really trying to keep a positive attitude.
I was like, after last week, you're like, I can't be so negative. And then like, I gave it an 8 last week.
But I think I enjoyed the movie more, which helps a lot. Like, just in terms of, like, following the characters. But I agree. Like I can see every point you're making at the same time.
Yeah, because I kind of thought going into this it was less Christmas, but then when you were kind of talking about the friendships and stuff, and I was like, that part felt very Christmas. I felt the Christmas in my heart during,
and that's where it leaves
so that
you.
kind of bumped me up again. But still, it's only a 6. But you know what? I think this is.
It's like
I met my best friends around Halloween.
The last movie we watched, like, there's Christmas throughout in terms of aesthetics, but the movie leaves you with, like, she's going back with the guy and that's the moment and we hate that. I mean, it leaves you with the song that we like. But this one, it leaves you with the fun friendship moment. So you kind of end on a Christmas feel. And that like, it does a lot for me in terms of ratings. But anyway, you're bringing the score down and the Christmas game. We already checked off everything on the Christmas game. And that was a 4 again. So same as last movie. So we're at an average rating of a 4.6, which means...
It's not Christmas.
It's not Christmas!
Not Christmas!
Not Christmas!
But it's not December yet. We have a lot of hopes for the next Christmas movies to come. And we're being Christmas. We're doing Christmas things. So it's fine that the
we're
movie
the most
wasn't.
Christmas thing about this movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. For sure. Okay,
Our
thanks,
in
everyone.
real life friendship. Thank you so much for watching.
Love you.
I love you.
Love you.
Bye.